Hello everyone, Sheila back again. Welcome to my channel. I am sitting down having a well-earned rest. I've been in my garden most of the afternoon. I went out I waited until the sunshine came out because it was quite dull this morning and didn't feel that warm actually, but well, I had to go out in the front before I went out in the garden to get my recycle bin in, because the men had been round emptying the bins and that. And there was no sun, but it was quite warm, so I thought, oh, I'm going to get her in the garden. That was about 11:30. So I went out in the garden and pulled one or two weeds first, and then I thought, I'm going to dig those patches over. I'm sick of looking at the weeds in them because they were really bad. So that's what I started doing, and I think with the last few days with me bending up and down all the time, picking out the weeds off my patio and then off the path. There's quite a wide path I have up my garden. My husband used to bring, we used to have double gates on years ago, and there used to be wide tracks around the back where you could drive your car around, and my husband used to bring the car into the back because he used to do his own mechanics and things on the car, and that's so he used to bring the car around there because we didn't have a drive in the front at first. It was a few years before we got a drive in the front, so we used to bring the car around the back, and he was closer to the outhouse where all his tools and that were, so there was quite a lot of weeds in that wide path that I had to pull out. And I think with all bending up and down all that much the last couple of days, I think your body starts getting used to doing them sort of things, so I could work longer when I started digging over the patches in my garden. I could bend up and down a lot easier than I was doing when I was first started pulling all the weeds out. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what I was doing today. And I was working right up till just after 4 o'clock, on and off. I was working for about an hour and then coming in for half an hour, which I came in for my lunch. Had my lunch and sat down for about half an hour doing a little bit knitting, then went back out again, and that's what I kept doing all day, like working for about an hour and having a half hour's break. And it took me right up till just after 4 o'clock to do what I wanted to do in the garden. I set myself a goal to say I'm going to do such and such, and hopefully I'll get it finished by such and such. And setting that goal actually made it so I was determined to do what I wanted to do and get done. And that helps actually, because I did exactly what I wanted to do, and I'm going to show you now some of what I was doing in my garden. So I'm going to pause this video and then I'll start the other bit. Well, that's one little patch done. On to the next one. And then the next one to the end. At least it's a lovely day for it. Well, it is now 3 o'clock. It took me an hour to do that patch, and it was an awful lot of weeds, but I desperately need to sit down because it came out 2 o'clock. I'm now going to sit down for half an hour, do a little bit knitting, and then come back out again. I'm determined to get that bit finished. The last bit down there will be a doddle because that was dug over not long ago. Cheryl dug that over for me, so it'll be a lot easier. There's not so many weeds in it. And there's a handful of tiny little potatoes I found in the soil when I was digging them over. Not off potatoes. I haven't had potatoes this year, must have been off last year, but they've either grown from little ones that were in there. But good wash, scrape the skins off with my fingers, and I'll have them with a salad. Lovely small tiny little potatoes like that are usually lovely and tasty. Well, it's back to the grindstone. It is now 20 to 4. I've had a little break. At least the sun is still shining on where I'm working, because the sun, you do have to follow the sun around my garden, but it's disappearing at this time of year. So I've just got that little bit to do, so hopefully I'll finish that by 4 o'clock. And that'll be my whack for today. Well, that's that patch done. Estimated was almost 4:10 when I finished, so I was pretty near what I thought it would take me. And tomorrow I'm going to do that bit, depending on the weather, but I think the weather's going to be good for a few days. And then after that, that patch there, that was not too bad because it's been dug over once. Cheryl dug that one over the last time she was here, and so Louise back again. And that one has been dug over since I don't know when. Not properly, it's just had the weeds pulled out. And my patio is all clear. My drive is all clear. Well, it's not a drive, it used to be a drive years ago. My husband used to bring the car in here, that's why we've got a big wide path down here. And then after I've done all that, I'm going to cut the hedge, but I have to get all the weeds out from underneath first before I cut it, because it's going to be awkward picking up all the weeds. Picking up because of all the weeds underneath. So I hope this weather keeps up for, at least according to my phone, it's going to be lovely right up to the weekend. And maybe after. And I should have my own back garden all sorted, then I can start on the front, hopefully do the borders round there. So as you can see from my garden, there was an awful lot of weeds. All this really bad weather we've had and the wet and all that, and my garden's never ever been in a state like that in all the years, and I just had so much knitting to do as well. I just didn't have the time to get out in my garden and do what I normally do. But I won't be making that mistake again next year. When it comes to the weather, the nice weather, and doing things in my garden, I am just not going to knit for anybody. That's what I'm going to do next year. But anyway, like you can see, all the things I still have to do in the garden. There's one part, a really bad part of weed. It's never been dug over for a few years. I've only ever just pulled the weeds out, you know, just poked a little fork thing in and pulled the weeds out. And I even paid somebody one year to come in and dig my garden over. And there was a man and a woman doing it, and all she did was use a little fork and just poked out the weeds. Well, within a week they were all back again. I wanted it dug over. I won't make that mistake again. I won't pay somebody to do something, you know, like that. That's just a half a job. That's all it was. That's why I won't pay anybody to do my garden, because there's nobody does it the way I want it done. So anyway, I'm doing what I can in this knitting, and I'm nearly finished the first little hat for Helen. That's the fold over part on it. Got about another inch to do, and it'll be the length it needs to be, and then I'll have the other one done, and hopefully I'll have enough light for to keep knitting tonight. I did manage a little bit even after I put the light on last night. I did manage a little bit, but later on it just got to, you know, my eyes, I couldn't focus properly on it. So instead of doing that, I went on to this. This is one of the little cardigans I've got to do for Daggery. I have 3 cardigans to do for Daggery, and she asked me for one in red. She said purple, but I think she probably means lilac. A lot of people call lilac purple. Don't know why I call it lilac, because that's what it is to me. And one in blue. So this one I'm doing it's a lovely red. It actually doesn't look as nice on this video as what it actually is. It's like a pillar box red, I call it. And I'm doing the 4x4 basket stitch, because I had started a PDF for this one, but I've only done the the 16-inch. I've done a little white 16-inch cardigan in it, and this is a 24, so I still have the 18-inch, the 20 and the 22 to do. But I also have some little cardigans for my old next door neighbour's mother, Carol, who I've done some for, and she's asked me to do some more, and she's asked me to do a 20-inch for one of the babies. So that 20-inch I'm going to do, she's asked me for a couple, so I'm going to do, and I have a 22-inch to do for her as well. She wants 2 for a girl and 2 for a boy. So I'll do a 20 and a 22, so that'll be 2 more sizes, so that'll be 3 sizes. So that'll only be the 18-inch to do after that. And I already have a 26-inch, which I did quite a long time ago, which that's always been just a single size on a PDF, but it's going to be included in this one. So it comes in handy when I can pick what patterns I want to do, because I can do these PDFs, work the ones I need to do the PDFs when people let me pick what I want in it. which is Daggery's let me, she's just let me pick. So I have another 2 to do, so I'll probably do another 2 on other PDFs I've been working on that I haven't got all the sizes done yet. So that's what I'll be doing tonight when it gets a little bit too dark for this one. It's not that it gets too dark, it's just the light. I can only knit this in a natural daylight. And I had a card today from, this is from Jane, who I knit that eyelash wool for. She sent me the payment in the card, and I do like it when I get cash. I don't have to tell the tax man, because I have a ledger where I put all my incoming and outgoing things in, that I have to fill in for the HMRC thing. And if it's anything in my bank, I have to put that in. If it's eBay or Etsy, that has to go in there. The payments, I have to put that in. And my PayPal as well. I get paid in PayPal, and I have to include that as well. But when I get cash, taxman doesn't have to know about it. So thank you very much, Jean, for that. And she said to find and close the payment for the for what I sent her, and she says, "Hello Sheila, thank you so very much for knitting the 2 baby cardigans and the hat for me with that horrible wool." She says she loves what I've done. Such a beautiful job. Many, many thanks. And it's not actually horrible wool, Jean. It's just not everyone can get away with it. I found it no trouble at all, actually, knitting with it. Once I started, because I never ever knitted with it before, and once I started, we used to get it years ago, and we used to call it Eskimo. That's what we called that wool, but its name's been changed. It's now called eyelash wool, or Moments is what King Cole calls it. Well, it's Moments eyelash wool. But the only problem I would have had if I hadn't thought about it before I started the hat, I did the hat in knit 1, purl 1 rib to make it stretchy, so it stretches over and tightens over a baby's head. I made sure I started with a knit stitch, because if I was like the number of rows, I think I have to have an even number of stitches to start with a knit on every row. If I'd had some rows starting with knit and some starting with purl, you cannot tell what the stitches are sometimes. So I made sure that I started with a knit, because before I started I was thinking that to myself, because I know when I was knitting it sometimes I wasn't sure whether I was on the knit side or the purl side. I had to really move the eyelash stuff about to check. So I thought, I'm going to make sure when I do the rib that I just start with a knit every row, so I'll not get mixed up. So anyway, that was from Jean. Lovely card there with flowers on. And this is for Helen. This is Jean's sister who I'm doing these for. So as soon as I finish the other hat, I will be sending these down to you as well, Helen. All the 3 sets, the pink set and the 2 blue sets. And that's my little bit for today. because I'm not going to move off here for about another hour. It is just after 4:30. I'm going to sit here until 5:30 before I even think about doing my tea, because I cannot be bothered to move. So thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you all another time. So bye for now.